When you cut off a narcissist, their reaction largely depends on the type of narcissist they are. Generally, there are two primary types: the jealous, possessive, and controlling narcissist, and the more detached, player type. The player type often won't be affected much unless you provided something they can't easily replace, like financial support, a place to stay, or unique experiences. They don't internalize rejection deeply because they usually have other sources of validation. Their sense of self isn't tied to any single relationship, and they may even view your decision to cut them off as your flaw, not theirs. In contrast, the possessive and controlling narcissist experiences a much stronger emotional reaction. Even though they project arrogance and pride, they are highly sensitive to rejection. When you cut them off, it triggers feelings of hurt, shame, and a sense of injustice because, despite their behavior, they believe they are entitled to your attention and affection. This creates an internal conflict. On one hand, they see themselves as superior, but your rejection contradicts that belief, causing emotional pain they struggle to process. Covert narcissists often suffer more deeply than overt ones because they aren't receiving the constant validation they crave. They bottle up their feelings, refusing to confront the reality of rejection or take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they create false narratives, shifting blame onto you to avoid facing their shame. This lack of accountability prevents them from healing, and they may quickly jump into new relationships to distract themselves from their unresolved emotions. However, these new relationships are often superficial, toxic, and short-lived because the underlying issues remain unaddressed. When you've made it clear that they've lost access to you emotionally, narcissists may become hostile. They view control over you as a form of power, and without it, they feel defeated. Some may retreat quietly, but others might resort to obsessive behaviors like stalking or harassment in an attempt to regain control. This can be dangerous, as their sense of entitlement and inability to handle rejection may push them to violate boundaries, sometimes even breaking the law. Their reactions are fueled by deep insecurity. They may assume that if you're no longer interested, someone else has outdone them, which is one of their greatest fears. Narcissists often see relationships as a game of manipulation, and the idea that someone else has won is unbearable. This jealousy can drive them to sabotage your life, relationships, or reputation because in their minds, if they can't have you, no one should. Even if they seem to move on, they're often still fixated on you, especially if they view you as the source of their shame. They may try to re-enter your life, not out of love or regret, but to regain control and validate themselves. If they can't, they project all their bitterness onto you, blaming you for their pain instead of acknowledging their own flaws. This projection allows them to maintain their self-image without confronting the painful truth of their inadequacies. Ultimately, the most effective way to protect yourself from a narcissist's manipulations is to establish firm boundaries and maintain no contact. Their power relies on your emotional reactions, and when you stop feeding that dynamic, you take away their ability to control you.